So this camper has two pop-outs. The upper pop-out over there is for the bedroom. And the lower pop-out here behind me is the kitchen, dining, living area. This one is much larger. And I don't want to pop everything out right now because I'm only going to be on the property here for a couple more hours. And it seems like it's probably a bit more waterproof put together like this. I'm going to wait for a time when we can spend more time out here to inspect everything and make sure there's no holes before I pop it out. So right here at the back corner, some tape over this. I'm going to pull this tape off because that's where the electrical connection is. I was told there's a large extension cord in there with a 50 amp plug. So that's what I'm going to look for. I want to take pictures of all the connections so I know what kind of fittings and components to order to attach on, including down there is the waste output. Campers use some sort of weird bayonet connector, which is essentially a cylindrical screw-on connector, but instead of threaded, it has these little finger hooks sticking out of it that they call bayonets. So when you turn it, it's kind of like a click lock, like a generator plug might have, a twist lock connection. Near that, some sort of water connection. I think that might be the input. I'm not 100% sure. So the black water tank has been removed on this. There's been a new water heater added to the bathroom for tankless on demand with propane. There's a residential grade refrigerator and toilet in this unit. So we're gonna have to figure out how all this stuff works. We got really lucky with the timing of this delivery. This morning that I'm walking around the camper here, it's actually 32 degrees, and any time the ground freezes up on our property, these ice crystals come out of the ground, and then after the sun comes up, they melt and turn to mud. So I wouldn't have asked a driver to arrive and deliver anything during freezing or wet conditions. But he was able to squeeze us in just before the freeze, and I'm very grateful he was able to accommodate us. Here's the inside of the camper. You can see a lot of work has been done. There's been extra insulation added, and then some of this paneling put back over the insulation to make it look a bit more factory. You can see the refrigerator. We will gain a lot more space once we deploy this living room pop-out. This pop-out here has a new window in it. This hallway goes up past the bathroom into the bedroom. The bedroom has a pop-out. We have not deployed it yet, but we're thinking about sticking a queen mattress in there. Hopefully that'll fit. Since it's memory foam, it might be able to fit around that corner. The bathroom here is the largest bathroom I've ever seen in a camper. Hopefully it works out well for us. Our next task involving the camper is to begin to clean out this shed. There's many phases worth of tools and supplies in here, a lot of which are just materials and empty boxes that we don't actually need anymore. But I definitely want to get everything out to continue with the drywall. So what you can see here is I'm just kind of sorting through things, consolidating trash and empty stuff into my car, consolidating tools, and everything else is going just outside the door to the open courtyard space between all of the campers, vehicles, and buildings. Because this camper is so old, in fact it's from the early 90s, the age combined with the amount of projects it's been involved in means that there's tons of tiny little holes, as well as some larger holes that need to be patched. For the small holes, I'm relying on Big Stretch, which is a very good product, especially in a case like this where the outside surface will see huge temperature swings, and any regular sealant you might use could potentially become brittle and pop out during that expansion and contraction process. But with Big Stretch, it should grab onto all sides of this hole and really keep it waterproof. For the larger holes, I'm going around and I'm actually adding little pieces of zip tape, and I can pull those off in the future if I find a better, more permanent way to patch the holes. But for now, I'm just trying to keep the rain out. So I was told that the 50 amp cord was in this little hatch. The problem is this very thick waterproofing tape was used to cover the hole. There's no longer any sort of manufactured port or hatch or cover that one might expect a cord to be connected behind. So I can't even get in there to see if that cord is there. I have no idea what's intact and what's usable, so I have to just rip this tape off. I ended up getting out a blade to make that hole bigger, and then you can see behind that there's actually a wooden 2x6. I believe it might be part of the structural framing with a notch cut out. And I could actually barely fit my arm over that, let alone an arm with a cord in it. So I had to just kind of walk the plug out until I could get a hold of it. And then once I did, I was able to rip the rest of that tape off, as well as the remaining plastic from the manufactured cap. I'm just going to use zip tape now to keep the water out. So I couldn't get any video of the fifth wheel getting transported because I was following the fifth wheel all the way up the mountain. And it's a bit too windy here to get a good drone shot, but you can kind of tell where it is. It's very close to our new solar shed, and that's by design because that's where all of our hookups are, or at least will be once everything's up and running. This will allow us to essentially camp in both of these buildings. There's already a bathroom in the fifth wheel. All of the waste is going to be ejected into the septic tank. That's pretty much ready to go. We don't have electricity yet to pump the water, but we could pump water using the generator if we needed to. For emergency water, we're going to have a rain barrel pretty soon, and that's essentially a gray water system. I'm not going to sanitize it, but we could use it to water plants and things like that. If we decide to bring our Berkey water filter, we could potentially use that as emergency drinking water. If we had to, we could definitely flush a toilet with it. And the toilet in this camper is a full residential toilet, not a camper toilet. So we could just dump water in the back and flush it. Right now, I'm just trying to get all my tools out of the solar shed and into all these secret hatches. I've been trying my best to organize them in a logical manner so I know where everything is. But I'm not going to be able to finish it this time. You can see there's still a lot in here. There's some stuff I really need to just decide if we're done with it, like the drywall lift. I can't anticipate us using that anymore on this project. We'll need it for the house. So I need to free up all that space and get anything expensive out of there because the next phase is finishing the drywall. And while the wet mud isn't that messy, sanding definitely is, and it gets everywhere. In my experience, it's best to just get everything out of the building instead of trying to dust things off or keep things covered. We should probably cover the floor because drywall dust is very tricky to get out, especially in an unfinished concrete floor like we have where there's all these texture gaps for stuff to settle into. So, if you want to see more about our camper, let me know if you want it to be a whole series or if you just want to see incrementally how we use the camper throughout the rest of our build series. Now that this is here, we should be able to spend more time on site, more protected from the weather. we'll just have to see how it goes. We're taking things one trip at a time. So I'll see you guys next time on Kind Heart Homestead. Bye.